Hi everyone! I am so thrilled to be able to finally announce these big news items here. I've mentioned before once or twice in my past videos that I've been working hard on a massive project, and now it's finally time to tell you all about it. Well, on Friday, November 30, 1979, Pink Floyd, with which I am now passingly familiar, launched what Vlad calls the best album ever to be composed. And that is, take a guess. The Wall. As you already know, my first exposure to them was my first listen and in-depth analysis of Hey You, and after publishing it, many of you wrote to me saying, you need to listen to Hey You in context. You have to listen to the entire album. And then more of you joined the chorus, adding, you have to watch the movie as well. Well, on November 30 this year, we want to celebrate the 43rd anniversary of The Wall. By now you've probably guessed what I'm going to say, and yes, I am going to do the entire album. I did it. I told them. Since you know that I am quite meticulous and want to go as deeply as possible into every piece of music, you can easily imagine the massive size of this project, and I want to tell you a little bit about how it's going to go. So I will do my first listen of the entire album, piece by piece, to get the first perspective, everything in context, and my first reactions, of course. And of course, when I get to Hey You, it will be my second recording of listening to that particular song. But I am going to include it in its place because I really want to place the entire thing in context and find links between it and the rest of the work and feel the whole thing as the unit that it was made to be. Once I've listened to the entire album once, I will watch the movie so that I can further deepen my understanding of Waters' ideas behind this album. Vlad will even record this first watch of the Wall movie for you, but he'll then edit it down to the most relevant clips featuring my reactions and thoughts, so that you don't have to get bored watching me stare at the screen for the whole length of time. Once I've done that, I will start a deeper examination of every song, and we'll start recording the in-depth analysis for each one of them. And then, at the end of all of this road, I'll record one last video with my final thoughts and conclusions about the album as a whole, and just kind of an overview, wrapping it up. My planned release date is, of course, Wednesday, November 30th. Obviously, I won't have everything done by then, but on that Wednesday, we'll publish the first listen and in-depth analysis of the first song on the album. And then we'll do the same through the entire album each week, meaning one song, first listen and in-depth, every week until I get through the entire album. That means 26 songs, the movie, and the final thoughts, so a total of 28 video release dates, 28 weeks. If it all goes according to plan, the last one should go up on Wednesday, June 14 of 2023. Now, I want to make it clear that this doesn't mean that The Wall and Pink Floyd will take over this channel for 7 whole months in a row. No, not at all. This project will be in addition to what I'm already doing and to my other projects that I'm going to get into in a minute. I cannot tell you how excited Vlad was when I decided to take on this project. And I'm quite certain that those of you who share his love and enthusiasm for Pink Floyd in general, and of course for The Wall in particular, I think you will be equally thrilled. The second big announcement is about my plans with my 3 Canadian friends whom you've already met, Carl, Graham, and Tice. And as I said during the premiere this last Saturday, or Sunday if you're in a different part of the world, Carl I've asked him to act as an informative guide as I take a systematic tour through the whole development of rock music. And I'm going to title the project, the series of videos, The History of Rock Music with Amy and Carl. And I want to tell you a bit more about how this is going to look. As he mentioned on the premiere, Carl has already sketched out steps along the way for me, starting with the beginnings all the way back in 1937 and continuing to our time now. Each episode of us together will focus on one important phase or feature in the development of rock music. In preparation for each of these episodes, I will have a little bit of homework, which is going to be 2 or 3 first listens of the songs around which our next discussion will revolve. And that way, I'll be prepared for a good discussion and for the new elements that Carl will be pointing out to me and that I'll be learning about. Carl says he has a list of about 300 songs and growing. So I think this is going to be a pretty thorough history tour. Also, Graham and Carl will each give me an introductory tour of each of their instruments, guitar and drums, so that I can learn to appreciate more of what each instrument offers. And I'm really looking forward to that because you've noticed those instruments are quite foreign to me, and I don't really understand their language so well as many other instruments. For this particular project, I will probably not be doing a separate in-depth video of these songs because I think our discussion together will most likely serve that purpose. However, I want to stress that this systematic study project will not replace what I'm already doing. It is another addition to what I'm putting on this channel, and it springs from my desire to truly learn and understand as much as I can about what I am hearing in this music. I'm going to keep up the spontaneous, the random, the little bits here and there. I'm going to continue listening to the community poll. I'm going to continue accepting commissions. I'm going to continue pulling in things from Vlad's favorites playlist. But I am also a teacher, and I understand the incredible value of a systematic, well-built course of study in order to really grasp a field. And that is my reason for wanting to do this. At this point, I cannot promise to post a new rock history episode every week, but I will get as close to that as possible. Also, we plan to meet up with Carl in person next month at a drum festival. I've been to harp festivals and all manner of other music festivals and conferences and so on and so forth. This is going to be my first percussion drum festival, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a whole new experience, and I'm sure I'm going to learn loads. And we'll make sure, Vlad's taking his camera, we'll make sure to tell you all about my experience there and share it with you, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The third and final announcement I want to make today is that I am opening some membership options on Ko-fi for those of you who are very interested in us and want to support us, so that you can not only have early access to all these materials, but also exclusive content which doesn't really fit on the YouTube channel for general public consumption. And here's a bit how that is going to look. First, I need to apologize because we have promised, and I have spoken many times in my videos about unlimited early access to the first listen before releasing it for anyone who makes a donation of any size, even if it's a one-time gift. However, I was not aware, I did not know this, but it turns out that Ko-fi does not allow one-time donor access for more than 30 days. And I reached out to them, trying to find a setting which would allow that, but it appears to be simply impossible and unavailable. I looked into Patreon. They also don't allow that. So that wasn't going to be an improvement in that regard. To make that right, as much as possible, we have decided to open a symbolic $2 a month membership tier. We badly wanted to make it a $1 tier, but after calculating the taxes and fees, it would have practically eaten the entire buck and turned against us. So it's going to be $2 a month. Besides supporting us, this membership tier will give you early access to all the first listen videos of the Next at Virgin Rock series right after we upload them, which is usually the exact time we publish the Next at Virgin Rock announcement, and before we shoot the in-depth analysis. That way, you will have several days, sometimes even a week, to watch and enjoy that first listen and share with me your thoughts before I do my in-depth analysis. And I want to say that some of the information that you've provided in your comments has been really helpful for me in my whole learning, study, research process. I appreciate that input, and I really look forward to having that continue. The second membership level is going to be $12 a month, which gives you everything that is in the first tier, the early access to the first listens in the Next at Virgin Rock series, and much more. Many of you have asked me to shoot videos about classical music and music theory, recommendations, instructions of how to start listening to classical, and so on. I don't feel like these can be published on Virgin Rock because they really don't fit the purpose of the channel. But I will make them available exclusively for the Ko-fi members at this tier and above, and I'm planning to start with a progressive series of videos about music theory, starting at the absolute ground zero beginner level and moving up from there incrementally. And of course, I will use all the rock songs I'm listening to as examples for you, so that you can relate to the theory concepts in a familiar genre. After all, you are the rockers, and maybe I'm one in the making. But not only music theory. Some of you have also asked me for guidance on how to begin to listen to and find a way to appreciate classical music. I also remember that many of you have written to say that many of the rock musicians I've heard so far were actually trained or grew up in classical music. So you will also have the opportunity to follow in their steps in a way, because I will be posting videos to help you develop your ability to understand this music, and you will begin to see how this impacted these rock musicians' work. For example, remember Freddie Mercury and Love of My Life? And remember also that he had early classical piano training? Or what about music reading? I remember some of you have also told me about several rock musicians who have never learned how to read music, and I understand this is a common challenge. In fact, remember Tice, my keyboard Canadian friend, saying he quit classical piano as a child precisely because he never cracked the code of music reading. But it doesn't have to be that way. As a teacher, I've developed a simple, logical way of teaching students these skills, how to read music. It doesn't have to be painful. And I have a lot of students in my studio who've come to me adamant that they cannot or don't want to read music. And working with them after some time, they become very competent, comfortable, sometimes even enthusiastic music readers, because it opens so many additional musical doors. So I'll be sharing some of my little secrets of this system with you as well. And of course, other things in the future. These are just a few examples that I want you to know about and get an idea of what to expect. The third membership tier is for those who want more, much more, than what the other two tiers offer, which is early access to the first listen of the Next at Virgin Rock series for the lowest, And that plus the classical music tutorials and courses and other content in the second tier. And of course, all of those are included at this third level. What is there more than that? Well, obviously, some of the videos belonging to all these long-term projects that I've been telling you about will be shot ahead of time. Actually, way ahead of time. Weeks, sometimes months before publishing them for the general public. Vlad is in the habit of spending days and nights, literally, truly, whole nights editing whenever he has footage in his hands. Then he uploads and schedules everything. For example, and maybe you'll be surprised, but I'm sure you'll be thrilled to find out that already the first listen of The Wall is available. It's true. All 26 videos, one for each song, shot, edited, and uploaded. He's already finished it. I told you we've been busy. You can already access all of them at this higher membership tier, even though we will only start to release them one per week starting on Wednesday, November 30, which is about 1.5 months from now. And this is just an example because I want you to understand that we are going to continue to develop similar long-term projects like this one. More than that, those who choose this level will have early access not only to the first listens of the Next at Virgin Rock series, but also to all the in-depth analysis videos as soon as they are uploaded. And not only that, but the same goes for the History of Rock Music with Amy and Carl series, as well as for all the other projects that I'm going to be doing in the future. Basically, as soon as they are shot, edited, and uploaded, you will have immediate access to them. But even this, I don't feel is quite enough. I know that some of you feel close to us and are very interested in more details about our personal music lives. And because of that, I want to share exclusive content with you as well. As I'm sure you've noticed, Vlad hasn't really come into the Virgin Rock projects, except for when I introduced him to you. And that is because Virgin Rock is all about my journey. And we want to keep it this way. But there are so many things that we would love to share with you together, but which don't really fit into the Virgin Rock channel without altering its purpose. So, you will be able to enjoy special footage, experiences, and other music-related content featuring our family, which will only be available to you at this level. And of course, we will be able to also interact on a more personal level than is possible on the YouTube platform. Wouldn't it be cool to have access to the uncut version of my first listen experiences? I think that would be cool, right? But it gets even better. What about uncut and live? We don't know quite yet how to make the live access technically possible, but we are working on the logistics of it. And this is one of the things that will be available to you in the near future. And in this way, you will be able to be even closer to us, more involved, more a part of my journey and our musical world. We're also planning to travel to different musical events, and you will have early access to footage from these events as well, sometimes even live or exclusive content. And these are just a few of the membership benefits that we want to give you. Over time, the membership features will become more and more saturated with content and offerings so that you can enjoy more of my journey and at the same time know that you are a very special part and enabler of these amazing experiences. So this membership tier is going to be $29 a month. Now, a side note about coffee. Some of you, rightfully, have complained that you don't receive notification about messages on Coffee. Unfortunately, Coffee didn't make their system explicit when you donate or sign up. But if you want to be notified, you not only have to make a donation, but also to follow me on Coffee, and that's a separate step. So do make sure you click the follow button. And that will unlock the notifications for every time I or someone else writes to you or responds to one of your messages. There may be some other things that need clarification on the Ko-fi platform as well. And I'm planning to, as I discover them, I'm going to put them up front on my home Ko-fi page there so that everybody knows and is able to navigate, because I know it's not as common a platform as Patreon. And that's all the news I have for you today. I am eager to read your comments and thoughts as we progress together on this journey. And Vlad is dying to know what you think about the wall project. So stay safe, and I will see you next time.